with the situation of our brethren in Ukraine still quite scary. Many of them are still there, even those who made it safely out. Just think of the fact that they uprooted themselves completely with their families and having to start life anew, many of them not knowing when and where and how. So let us do the old Jewish thing, saying a kapitel Tehillim. In addition to the help that we have to and should send them, financial help. Let's start with the Tehillim, chapter 120, the Rebbe's chapter. Shir Amalos el Adonai Batzarosi Likorosi Veyadeni Adonai Atzilu Nafshi Mitzvah Sheker Miloshon Remio Mayita Locho Vayosev Loch Loshon Remio Chitze Gibber Shinunim Gem Gacha Leresomim Oyo Likigati Mesher Shachadim Alekedo Rabas Shoch Lo Nafshi Mitzvah Sholem Ani Sholem V'Chiad Daber Heim Olam Milchomom. Tzedakah, take a few coins. Certainly have a pushka in your house, in addition to the larger sums of money you're going to be sending or you send already. But a few coins in the pushka will definitely go a long way. And now let us learn a little Torah thought. Story is told when the Tzemach Tzedek, the grandson of the Alter Rebbe, who unfortunately was an orphan from his mother, because his mother, the Rebbetzin Dvorelea, sacrificed her life to save the Alter Rebbe. A story in itself, not for now. The Alter Rebbe promised his daughter Dvorelea that he will raise this little orphan. And indeed, completely devoted to him. So this was the day after Yom Kippur, in the year 1793. The Alter Rebbe prepared himself, or I should say prepared his grandchild for his first day in Cheder, which we call the Areinführenisch in Cheder, bringing in, introducing a child in Cheder, which is usually done at the age of 5. So this was the day after Yom Kippur. That morning, the Alter Rebbe prayed earlier than usual. And he read the portion of the week, which at that time was Parshas Ha'azinu. The Alter Rebbe was a Bal Koreh, he read the Torah himself. And there, in Shlishi, the Pasuk says, Yesoivevenhu, I encircled him, or he encircled him. Talking about God protecting the Jewish people. So this Pasuk, the Alter Rebbe put a lot of emphasis. And he said, Yesoivevenhu, he encircled him. Yevoinunehu, he gave him the wisdom of Torah. Yitzrenhu ki'ishon einoi. He preserved him like the pupil of his eye. Obviously, having over here his grandson in mind. Then he took his grandchild and he dressed him in a talus, carried him in a talus, brought him to the gravesite of his mother, his daughter, and he came and he loudly said, Dvorelea bashterda, Mazel Tov. Today I'm bringing in your child into Cheder. And just like he's going to enter into Torah, may you enter in, to lead him eventually to Chuppah and to Masim Tovim and for long life. He then brought him to the Melamed, to the Cheder, to his teacher. And he asked his teacher to teach him the first verse of the Sefer Vayikra, which is the parsha that we're starting to read now, the third book of the Chumash, Vayikra el Moshe. He then threw some candies, gave him a piece of honey cake, cookie, and also an egg, written all kinds of verses on it, which is a subject for itself. But then the child turns around to the Alter Rebbe and he noticed that the Aleph of Vayikra is a small Aleph. And he asked Zayda, why is this Aleph smaller? The Alter Rebbe thought for a moment. And then he said the following. Adam HaRishon, first man, was God's handiwork. He was wiser even than the angels. But the issue was that Adam knew and recognized his own greatness. Moshe Rabbeinu was also aware of all his qualities. And he knew of all his responsibilities. And he knew that he was chosen by God to lead the Jewish people. But Moshe Rabbeinu said, if somebody else would have received those God-given qualities, he might even be greater than me. And therefore, Adam, in Chronicles, in Divrei Yomim, the Aleph is written larger. Why? Because he recognized his own greatness. And that was his downfall. Moshe Rabbeinu, Vayikro el Moshe, God is speaking out to Moshe Rabbeinu, God is calling to Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu was humble. And that was his greatness. And therefore the Aleph is here to symbolize the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu. Now we understand why God told Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Goyel Rishon Goyel Achon is our first Redeemer and our last Redeemer. So Eibishter, Moshiach, is also very humble. But we want to see him already, not in his humility. We want to see him in his greatness, how he's taking us out of exile right now.